All right, so we're out of our synths discussion, but like we are going to go. I mean, I'm organizing this, but we're gonna go to Ardenka. Is the name of this place? It's like sorry, I forgot the name exactly. It's like a museum. We discussed this, huh? What's the name? It's Ardenka, isn't it? Like the place there is like all I'm sure I'm getting the name wrong. I'll tell you. I'll write you a bit later about it. But anyways, that's how I remember the name. The school has a relationship with a really cool museum that has like a lot of ancient Soviet like music machines. That is really cool place. And most likely I'm fucking up the name, but I mean during our synths meetings we had a couple of technical issues that made me really sad. So there are two things I want to do about that. We will go together to a museum, like to check out some actual scenes, like, and we'll have like a little tour and stuff. I always want to take the courses out to some field trip. I like to do this, and well, I actually never done this. I always wanted to do this. And when I get these guys, like the Block Petania and this guy fixed, there will be an extra lecture to discuss them, so individually, okay? Because I really like you guys, and I hate when things go wrong. And I was really dissatisfied with what happened in the last lecture. So to compensate for that, we are going to do this. But today we go into another discussion, which is layering. Like, I am imagining that you all have had conversations with Anatoly perhaps about layering, or not yet. Yeah, great. I mean, I think that one interesting way of I don't know, running this course is because I try to put myself in your shoes. It's like there is this guy speaking there, and you guys are there sitting, and sometimes we do some not only me but all the lectures. Like sometimes we do some practical exercise, but I imagine that in 1 year it's very likely that you will forget 90% of the things that we're talking here, and it's not because you're bad or you're not paying attention or something. It's like we're trying to condense to you decades of experience into some like 1 hour and a half conversation, and that's just not realistic. So I think that a good way for me to proceed is to make a lot of like guides and things that you can later come and check out. That's why I make all these presentations. So basically, and that's one thing I want to say. Like side A of my LP is like, hey, I love to make compilations of information for you that you can check out later, because I imagine that you will forget everything. And side B is that the other goal that I have is like when you get stuck, you know, in the future, it's like, I have to write this song, I have to change these things, I have to do this thing. I'm stuck. Maybe I can open this presentation and it can help me to get unstuck. I hope that that can happen one day. Like maybe not. But I hope that. So in that spirit, I created this guide. Well, I'm going to be super honest with you. I didn't create this guide. I found a really great article that guided my thinking. And because I like to be honest, like the work is almost done by another person, but the examples I'm going to make to you, obviously I'm going to make. So this is going to be the most important part of the lecture. And maybe later you can come back here and see those ideas and think about them. So this has like 20 options that you can have when you're going to layer stuff. So it's like principles, you know, it's like, I need to layer something. What should I do? I just duplicate this and find another patch. Okay, yeah, that's something you can do. I will explain what layering is for those of you who don't know what layering is, like, but just in case I'm making this brief introduction. Or maybe you can have a strategy, and that when you have a strategy, things are better. Before I go deep into our lecture, I wanted to revisit a little bit our situation with the summative assessments, just like where are we, what things I'm expecting from you, what things you have delivered, you have not delivered, so we are all in the same line. The way I see things is like there is this recreate a song in which I have a lot of people missing it. So this deadline was on April 19. So, I mean, I really don't mind, just don't let it for the last minute so it doesn't catches you like by storm. Like this is important. So this was already like closed deadline, and I think that next year I'm going to be a bit more strict than this year. I think it's going to be more helpful if I'm a little bit more strict, but for now I remain in babushka mode. So, well, to be honest, I speak about babushkas as if Russian babushkas are nice, which they are not. I mean, they can be, I guess, but I'm in Venezuelan babushka mode because I mean I met some Russian babushkas that are like a piece of like stone, you know. So maybe babushka mode is not such a nice thing to be. I mean, not such a miyaki thing to be. But anyways, I remind you, there is the recreating a song. Please don't let it back. And there is one more synthesized animal. So I wanna just like also give a little bit of feedback and listen to things. So let's see what happens. This is a frog. Tatiana made a synth frog. Tatiana is not here, but I'm recording this and I just would enjoy listening to it. So let's see the original. This is so fast. I mean, it's a little nice. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. This is good. But I wonder which one she chose to. Well, we'll see. So let's see which one Tatiana did. That's really far away. That's a 50 for me. Okay. We had a good laugh. Good laugh. But yeah. It's very far from the animal. Good try. But I'm sure you can do better. Okay, great. I don't know if it was like the heart of a computer or sorry, I don't mean to be a dick, but I don't know if it was the heart of a computer or a frog. But anyways. Okay, and I have also in the things pending there around for us, I also there is the alarm sound. A lot of you gave it to us. I delivered them to the filmmakers. I haven't heard anything. I mean, I have proof to you that it was delivered. This is the filmmaker, and here are the Megalki. Yeah, the ones that they were to me arrived to me on time. I will put these ones there anyways. But I think they guys most likely already either choose to use it or not. Maybe they just don't want to use the ones we made. That's up to them. So they were really cool. The ones that I heard, they were really cool. And maybe I'm not gonna take so much time of this lecture to. I want to go into it. I see. I just want. Sometimes there are some free attachments here, and it's easier. Yeah. For example, Elena, you already heard yours, didn't I? Grade it? You made a second one. I don't know. It's the one. Yeah, these were Liana ones. They were really nice. They were all different. Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, it's super great. So I don't know, with the animal sound and the Megalki, I just thought like to, yeah, nice. That it would be cool to put you just to think about how to create sounds with synths and all of that. By the way, let me start opening Ableton before I get there. Yeah, so it starts having its personality crisis before we start. Okay, that's cool. And yes, I return it. Absolutely. Good job. Yeah. No, and also was on time and it was great. I saw it on over the weekend, or I mean before the holidays. And there is Natalia. Yeah, I noticed that yours there was like an error. They were the same, like the four of them. Like, wait a second. You see? Yeah, it happens. And this one again, you see? Yeah, I thought like, I mean, I heard them in a hurry. I was in my own stuff, and I was like, oh, maybe they are different a little bit, etc. But anyways, they were really cool, and I mean, like now I noticed that I have like Anton's ones like at a click, at one. Yeah, they were really intense. The Anton ones were really heavy. Like it's like heavy emergency. It's like I don't know if you know what is Atari Teenage Riot, but it's like an Atari Teenage Riot Pripyat. Yeah. So yeah, it's really nice. And the last thing, I mean, I'm just kind of like reminding you, Megalki, Animal Sounds, and of course, original EP for the 7th of June. You know, don't let it fall. Just have to make me some songs, and don't forget about that. I think I will add I mean, the EP has to be given in 1 month. I guess there will be a couple of little summative assessments before there. So I know I'm giving you a lot of work, but I tend to give more work to the first year guys than the other years. I don't know. I just feel that it's sort of like motivational and to push you a little bit and to move forward. So, all right, that's where we are with the summatives. In a summary, please don't forget about recreate the song. Don't forget about the synthesized animal. Don't forget about the Megalki. Don't forget about the original EP. That's some 4 nice summatives, and let's go. Okay, so what do I want? I want to understand the concept of layering in music production. I'm not gonna, I mean, I really assume that you all know what that means. Like, if you don't, just tell me, but I'm not going to stay like creating a theory about what layering is. I want to go straight into the money. I want to learn techniques for layering. I want to explore creative approaches for layering. I want to develop critical listening skills to think like when layering works or it doesn't work. I want to understand some challenges and limitations of layerings, like phase cancellations, masking, and things like that. And I want you to practice. So that's kind of where what I'm after with this exercise. By the way, before I start, I have been establishing this relationship with ChatGPT and working with it, but it started giving me really wrong, but it became worse. Like I think that the people in OpenAI, there is like the paid version and the unpaid version. I think they made the unpaid version dumber on purpose, so you are motivated to pay for it. So you feel like, oh, this is crap. Because it really, look at this, it's really funny. Like, please suggest 5 books that cover the topic of layering in music production. And then it's like, it tells me this book, like, Music Production Techniques, Layering Instrument by John Twells. By the way, this Mike Senior book, I told it to GPT in another conversation, so it's obvious that I took it from Mike, chats with it. The mixing also, like it's a book that took from my conversations with it, so it's obvious. This one also doesn't exist, and so I was like, the quality of your answer seems to have decreased considerably lately. Is there a reason for that? Oh, sorry, please tell me what I shouldn't do. And I was like, yeah, you have created books that don't exist. And then it's like, oh yeah, sorry, please tell me what I can do. I mean, you have claimed that some books exist, and upon inspection, those books turn out to not have existed, and so the thing keeps telling me like, oh, I'm sorry, please tell me how can I improve. Yeah, please don't suggest books that do not exist. And then, that's so crazy. And then I asked like, okay, now considering this, give me 5 books, and then he gave me 5 books that exist. Just saying, whatever. It was funny. Like, I mean, I was like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna share this. These ones do exist. Like, I went and checked it, and these ones do exist. They are hard to find, but anyways, because of this, I don't have, well, not because of this, sorry. I could have searched in other ways, but I kind of like have some repetition of our bibliography here, because, I mean, the book of the Well Synthesizer and Noise Sculpture talks a lot about layering. So, I mean, I put it here, but I based my lecture today on this article by Hyperbeats. It's called Layering Sounds, and it's just literally this list that we're going to go through. And in the Mixing Secrets, there is a lot of layering conversations as well. My dream is like, there are 20 paths, and I want to do them all. I hope that this will be done in between 2 lectures, like in between today and tomorrow, because and next week, sorry. And I hope to go like, okay, description, practice. So I'm gonna stop. I mean, I'm gonna go to Ableton in a couple of minutes, just right away, and we're gonna make some layering together, and discuss it, and think about it. Let me take this cable from here and leave this ready. Ah, I can't. Okay, fine. By the way, I kind of like went in straight into it. Did you guys have a nice holidays? Everything is cool. Did you guys could have a rest? Yeah, everything nice. Awesome. Well, from my side, I mean, we saw each other on Wednesday when I was in the middle of the mixing of the movie, and we didn't saw each other after I finished this. So I didn't finish the movie, the whole thing. Like, I mean, I really delivered, and they already made a movie and showed it to Funkino. Like, and I have the whole movie like in one batch, and it's really cool. I was jumping around, and I mean, I haven't seen it all, but just jumping and seeing like, oh, my music. It was all so cool. They changed they grab an M83 song for the ending, and I was like really pissed off, and so I'm rewriting the ending because I mean I was like, come on, like I want all the music to be mine. So, and also I mean they don't want to buy this song from M83 because it's expensive, and so I still have to write a little bit. But this is a big news for me because it's kind of like I was running 2 bachelors at the same time, and that was driving me crazy. So I have a bit more energy and time. I'm looking for a USB cable, like I mean if you see it around or I'm stupid or something, let me know. Yeah, I can go, it's okay. Just give me a second and I'll bring a USB cable just to be ready. Thanks. Slava, bratan. Yes. Нет. USB, check here. Here is the USB. So let's go. I have a question. Do you feel that Anatoly's lectures are like strictly about Ableton, or they also cover production topics? They cover a lot of production topics, right? And styles. Okay. Хорошо. Okay. Do you feel a lot of overlap between my lectures and his? Or is it complementary? Does it work? Complementary? It works? Okay, great. That's really cool. I just don't want, because I mean, usually teachers, we communicate a lot before the course starts. And then the course starts and everybody's so busy that it's hard to talk because we have a lot of things to do. And okay, just checking. All right, cool. So for those of you who don't know, it's layering happens when you combine a lot of multiple individual sounds to create one single sound. So that's pretty obvious. So maybe you have a synth line and it sounds great. You have a synth line and it sounds great. And maybe then you duplicate and create 4 new synth lines that accompany that synth line. And then it becomes one new sound that is like 4 synths at the same time. And it can happen that those 4 synths are the Roland, the Korg, and the other Korg, and they blend together and they create a new sound that has a lot of layers. So we are gonna, by the way, see this lecture is more about like layering in general, and then there would be a percussion layering alone. Like we will see percussion separately. So right now we're talking about layering in general, and then we'll go to percussion. So the authors of this article tell us something. You know, sometimes what happens is that we do things, we use tools, we use techniques, and we don't think like so much about them. We just like kind of like, yeah, okay, I have a sound, I duplicate this synth, and then the second one sounds great, and that's all. And sometimes if you sit down to think about things for a moment, you're gonna improve your technique and learn a lot, and also see things from another angle. For example, I have been layering things for all my life, and when I build this presentation, well, not all my life. It's not like I was 2 years old and I was layering things, but for most of my life, and I learn a lot when I make this. I already have a technique that I really want to try, and I will try it with you. That is here. But what I wanted to say right now is that you can kind of like layer, and I haven't thought about this, like, and it's just like an idea from this author, you know. It's like you can layer this. You can layer to create size and to create uniqueness. So maybe you want something to be bigger or perhaps smaller, or perhaps you want something to be very unique in your song. It's like an element that has never happened before. So when you're gonna make layering for increasing size, well, obviously you're gonna make things bigger and larger and more interesting. And when you're layer for uniqueness, you are kind of seeking to isolate one musical idea and make it stand out of everything in the song. And I think that the more I think about music in general, I mean, really, the writing of the soundtrack just really changed my life. And when you're writing something like that, you're thinking a lot about how, like, you know, how a story is told across a long space of time, like 75 minutes, and then you kind of like, there are moments that are unique, and then you use an absolutely single unique resource that you have never used in the whole composition because you want to make something stand out. For example, in that movie that we were doing, there was an idea that came out, which was that in the whole movie there is this artificial intelligence system that is sort of coming to consciousness. It's starting to become alive and to think. And I'm discussing this to talk about layering and how you can use layering very creatively to make a point, like a storytelling point. And actually, I want to use this opportunity to tell you guys, approach to each one of your songs like a little story. I have already said this before, but I cannot insist this anymore. Even if your song is 3 minutes, you know, it's like, okay, craft a little movie, like a micro movie. In this like long piece that we were writing, there is a moment when this artificial intelligence system kind of becomes to consciousness, and so what I did was like I was thinking, okay, the whole soundtrack is a piece of electronic music, and when this moment of consciousness comes, there is an orchestral layer that appears for the first time, and I actually switched the whole thing like from electronic music to orchestral only, just to kind of represent musically what it means that something became human or organic or like, you know. So I mean, I had my whole thing running, and then I created, and this is in a 75-minute music piece. Imagine, I use that resource for 12 seconds, and then it never comes back. So in that case, that's a really good case of layering for uniqueness. You know, when you have a huge piece and you just like select this little moment and make something stand out for a particular reason. And so, yeah, I mean, that's really theoretical things that we kind of don't need to think about so much, because this is a pretty intuitive process, you know. Now, I like this. There is some good layering and some bad layering. I mean, some ideas here about layering before we go into the weeds. So, I mean, good layers have a purpose. So you're thinking about what you're doing, and you have like a particular plan. And I don't know, you want, like, in general, to serve a storytelling objective. And poor layering happens when multiple sounds try to do the same thing. That's a really cool idea that is going to help us when you are layering and you start feeling like, hey, these many sounds are just kind of like, you know, serving the same purpose. There's not a unique reason for one of those sounds to exist. Then maybe you are in a bad layering situation. Yes. Yes. Correct. Yeah, correct. And I mean, like anything in music, yeah, like anything in music, there is nothing like good or bad, like the rules of everything. Sure, I understand, but this is said like on a very like relaxed tone. You know, like sometimes you're gonna have to use like to grab 4 things that are exactly the same and place them together for some reason. It's gonna sound amazing. I get it, but when I layer, I think like about sort of the high spectrum, the low spectrum, and then the mid spectrum and the low spectrum, and then I just think, okay, I need to kind of work on each one of those ranges, and I don't try to put 2 layers that are on the high spectrum or 2 layers on the mid range, because the human ear has only, I mean, I've been lately, you know, if you go through my career and my analysis of music making, I'm in the moment, my face right now is like, the human hearing is shit. And that's why, and that determines a lot of the rules of why we make music, how we make it, because if you blast to the human ear the same, like things that are very similar, the human ear gets like, I'm just going to focus on TikTok right now, sorry, and I'm just going to go away from this, like, or whatever, I'm going to focus on Twitter or whatever you want. So I would say that bad layering would be, or let's leave I like the fact that they use this word poor layering at the beginning, like let's call it poor layering instead of bad layering. Poor layering happens when you really don't think about what you're doing. You just duplicate a synth and it's like, oh, look how cool they sound together. That's it. Like, you know, kind of like if you don't have a theory of why you're doing it, I mean, you're going to fall into something crappy. But anyways, sometimes doing the stupid thing is the correct thing. That's why it's so hard to teach this. It's like, how to do something correctly? Well, do the stupid thing. It's like, okay. But anyways, you get my point. So it's usually a good idea to have 1 layer to make most of the final sound. This is some idea that this person is saying. Is what it means is like, hey, you know, you have 4 layers. Let's do it like this. The first layer, if you mute it, everything falls apart. So that first layer alone is already a big percentage of the sound. Like you don't want to, I don't necessarily agree. These are ideas that are on the table, but the idea that he's putting on the table is like you don't want your layers to be so fundamental for the main sound. He's suggesting, or she, I don't even know if it's a he or a she. I think it's a he. That he's suggesting like, hey, you know, like make that main sound be a big part of whatever you're doing, and then make something more rich or interesting with other layers. So in the next lecture or lectures, depending on how far I go, we're going to debate 20 layering tips and some production tricks and some processing strategies when you're layering. So, okay, look, the first one is add a detuned layer. So again, like I was telling you in the introduction, I want to give you lists of things that you can always open and consult, like, oh, what was this idea? So let's see what this means. So let's start by creating a musical idea. Quickly, a little, do I want to sit? Well, I don't want to waste time right now, so I'll sit down and then later I'll, nah, come on. I opened it before, you guys saw me. Like, oh. While this thing is loading, because I really can't do anything without Ableton right now, while this thing is loading, it's gonna take like a couple of minutes. There was one recreating a song. Yet, it's the same. Yeah, I see. I was going to just use this opportunity to listen to something, but and in here I have this alarm sound. I already graded this. Unfortunately, it seems like we have to just kind of like talk about football or something for a couple of minutes until we get there, because Ableton right now is not reacting for a couple of minutes. So I am declaring a Perez riff 30 minutes into the lecture, which sucks. But yeah, he's not reacting right now. Yeah, Natalia, in this case, I'm trusting that you will send me all of them. I already returned it in 100. Kind of in an automatic mode, but yeah, I of course trust that you will send me that. So the rest, please give me my thing. And Ableton has started to work, so that's amazing. I want to, by the way, do you remember that I once shared with you this MIDI chords? Do you remember this? Yeah. So, I mean, just to be faster and to remind us that this material is there. I think if I write the word here, MIDI pack, just to be fast, I MIDI files. No, this is like to some client. BPM Express, I don't know. This is like, whatever. This is some song that I sent you already once. This is great. I just don't want to waste time creating something. So I once gave you this challenge of making a song with these MIDI files, and let's just get these MIDI files quickly and load them into Ableton, and so there is no time wasted on writing something. And actually, I remember that we used the chord files in that moment. So let's just open this, and then I don't waste any time on this. Bass, beats, harmony, and melody. Great. So let's just load this here. Yeah. Please bring it. Harmony. Let's for now focus on harmony and melody alone. And yeah. So, all right. And now that we are synth experts, because we just went through 7 synth lectures, and of course you all open my synths here and practice with my synths for weeks. I know it was amazing because because we're synth experts already. Which do you want to choose a synth there to start? Or no? Should I choose it? Any curiosity there? Sinclair. Okay, I chose Sinclair because nobody answered there, but the Sinclair is really nice and it's not expected. It's really, really, really cool. Actually, sorry? No, the Analog Lab 5. It's good that you ask, and thanks. And by the way, you know what? So you are prepared about something. Let me tell you something. I'm going to give you a little homework. I thought about this when I was making the presentation. I'm going to give you a little homework, which is like you will have to write me 3 layering techniques that you think, that you thought on your own. Like, whatever. Just like improvise, think about it. Like I will put it on Google Classroom, so it will be there. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So the Analog Lab, bro, it's like a compiler. Yeah, it's like a biblioteca, exactly. So we can use it. There is a reason why I don't like it so much, because no, I mean you can look. Imagine like you can load sounds with the ARP, Like, and then like these are sounds that are with the ARP, but the things that you can edit are limited. You can do some things with it. It's cool. It's cool, but in the production of the soundtrack, I realized that every time I open the Analog Lab, it was like something that ended up in a dead end. Like, it's just like, for me, it's easier. I like more to work with the actual scenes. But the Analog Lab has something really cool, which is that which is that I lost my menu here. It has this. It's here. Like, just like you have all these huge presets, and it also has presets for emotion type. Like, yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. I just like more to use the actual scenes, but because yeah. So okay, I'm going to load the Synclaver right now just for fun, because I like it more. But this is a good option too. So let's go, and let's see what do I have here. It's actually similar to the sound I used initially. Maybe it was even the same, coincidentally. I remember that sound. Naked Planet. It's actually such a nice sound. Like, I really love it right away. Let's see. I mean, it's so basic. I just love it so much. I'm actually, at the moment, I'm going to make a screenshot. By the way, I recommend you a lot to do this. This thing of the screenshots is a killer one. Like, just, you will forget 100% of everything you do, and just like make screenshots and send them to you on Telegram. Like I have you can, sure. But it's like, I like this preset, and that's what I mean. You can also save it to favorites, and just like I jump a lot in between computers, and that's why for me that helps me a lot. But you can also save it to favorites, and then you have a library and your favorites and stuff. Because I want to move a little bit from here. I'm gonna go here on paths and just gonna. The reason why I'm changing is because this layer, it's already a bit detuned, and we're discussing about making a detuned layer. So I don't want it to be so detuned. So let me just jump here and see. When that happens, you're usually in a low, when you're using synths. Let me see, maybe that's not the problem, but when that happens, you're usually in a low what's the name, buffer size. Like, and then it just means, you see, it was in 32 samples, and then the synth is just like, I can't process this, not the synth, the DAW. It's like, I can't process all this so fast. So yeah, just telling you, if that happens to you, check the buffer size. So let me see if there is like a very simple one. Well, no, let me see, pad, and let me just load something else. Super. They're all detuned, kind of. Oh, I use this one a lot in the movie, by the way. Nice. Yeah, the Synclaver is really amazing. I want something that is not so... It's so detuned already, you see? Nice. So let me see if I have a simpler... Or let me lower a bass, for example. Yeah, okay. Let's just do it with a bass. That's so nice. You change the ring of this. Yeah, you have some really nice things that are going on. So... Okay, I'm gonna use this one. Okay, so the first proposal for layering is duplicate this guy. I mean, personally, I have sort of like a rule of 3. It's like I always try to think in 3 things, so I think layers, like 3 layers. I usually try to do that. So let's group this guy now. And the first proposal was just to make a detuned layer. So we will do a lot of different kinds. Let's try this one. If I even see in the same synth, there's gonna be a, most likely, if you see a fine tune, let me know. Like if you see a tune button, or maybe it's gonna be up here. Harmonic. I mean, obviously there is an easier way to do this, but I just would like to try to do this with the synth. Octave. Transport tuning, you see? So I have two. But this is monophonic, so let's apply it, sorry, to the bass layer, kind of, like, not to the polyphonic layer. And let's just group it and duplicate it. Yep. And let's make the second layer detune. Tuning, here it is. Nice. It was very easy, but... And if we turn this, both of them down 1 octave, I think we will win. We will have a win. Can you move, like, can you make MIDI edits in Ableton to more than one clip? Huh? There it is. Right? Like, I mean, that's it. I'm already controlling 2, I think. Yeah. And let's just transpose this to 1 octave lower. Arrow down. I made it, right? Yeah. Great. Thank you, guys. So if I remove the second layer, it's super uninteresting. And all we did, I mean, it was such a simple thing, but all we did was just literally just change the tuning of the second layer a bit. And I mean, if you don't want to do it like that because you don't know how to use the synth, or you don't find the function, tuning, whatever, and you should. What I really care is that you think like this. If you create one sound and you don't layer it, you're failing. Like, it's just like, it's not an option. It's how it always is. It's like, sometimes that sound on its own, it's great and okay, it's like that, but it's sort of like, you know, think about that. There is a cappuccino shop that they make you these really nice drawings on the cappuccino, and the other shop that it costs the same and they don't make you these drawings on the cappuccino. And it's like, I mean, I'm gonna go to the drawing one because it's more cool. Maybe, I mean, maybe if it's equally delicious, just because it's more cool. Like, just making the cappuccino alone is not enough. That's kind of what I'm trying to tell you. Like, you always have to be thinking about adding something extra, because anybody can just load a preset and then just run it or whatever. Just so you have to add your creativity. And I think that layering is not optional, and you always have to think about it. Create a sound that you really like. You cannot stop there. That's what I mean. You cannot just stop there. I really like the sound. There is another step. So what's the next step? Layering. And what can you do? Well, this is one of the things you can do. There is one thing that I didn't actually put here, and I'm gonna put it as the step 0. I'm just thought about it, and it's so stupid, but I mean, why not? I'm gonna put it in our list as a step 0, which is copy the same part, and load it in another synth. I mean, that's hyper obvious, right? So do as the title says. Just kidding here, but you get the point. I mean, obviously, a way to layer something is just like to grab this guy. Let me just duplicate it once more. I mean, that's kind of like how most people do this thing without thinking about it. Just like, okay, I have the same MIDI line, and I'm gonna load the mini B3 there and just run it through another synth, and then I have 2 layers. And I guess that it has no sound. Or am I soloing something? Mini here. And actually, I lost sound. Did I solo something? Off. I see. So. Thank you. And something weird happened here, because also the master went to 0. But I guess I touched something. I mean, obviously, this is the step 0, right? Like, it's like, load your sample in another synth and have two synths doing the same sample, the same MIDI clip. Like, let me just put it here more clearly. Copy the same MIDI clip. Is that right? MIDI clip. And load another synth. I'll later put some image there or something to make it more cool looking. But I mean, that's obviously the first thing you're gonna do. But amazing. And of course, the balance is gonna be your taste, and that's the whole story. But right now, we're discussing something else, which is to have a second layer out of tune. Works. Sounds like pretty stupid and simple, but I wrote for myself here a note, if I don't remember wrongly. Alternative case study. Little altar boy and micro shifter. I wrote this for ourselves to discuss. So I did this with a second synth, but obviously in this particular case of layering that you don't need another synth, one thing you can do is to pull out here the little altar boy is just a pitch shifter, so you can load a pitch shifter on it. This is what I was saying, if you don't know how to use this synth and it's a new thing for you and whatever. Sorry. No, this is not what I wanted. Sound toys, little altar boy. Here. Please don't let me down. That's correct. I have my iLock with me. The little altar boy is literally just an octaver. Like, and you guys, by the way, I mean, I have said it in the past, I guess, and I say it again. Having sound toys is not optional. I mean, all of you must have these plugins one day of your life, either by root tracker means or real means or whatever, but you have to have sound toys. It's just not an option not to have it. Okay, so great. So what do I mean by this? Now, this is an octaver, and I can obviously create a second octave, like a full second octave on it, but I'm gonna talk about that case later. Why is it translating so bad? I think it's translating so bad because of the content of it, but that's really weird. It's usually no. Really weird. Well, anyways, it's giving me the detune layer. It's just not doing what I want, but there you go. I mean, that's a YouTube. I'm not gonna waste so much time on it. I have this one on too. There you go. Wow, but it's really poorly doing my octaves here. But anyways, I wanted a detune layer, so I'm not gonna fight so much against it because it's doing what I wanted. So I just wanted to discuss that you can use a pitch shifter to achieve this out of tuneness. So we have achieved that, even though it didn't work as I wanted, but we have achieved that. And the next option I propose you here is to use things like phase shifters. Like there is a plugin called Microshift, which is a phase shifter. So what is it doing? It's like it's grabbing a copy of the signal and it's just moving it a little bit to the right, basically. So it's like, oh, and then you hear like two of them are there. But some of the shifters, like this is a phase shifter. Some of the shifters have this detune knob here. So you can just detune it there. So that's another way to... I don't even know if to call this layering, because you're just kind of like doing it with the same element. But bear in mind that you can consider it layering because you can do a lot of stuff. You can send a lot of elements grouped into a micro shifter and then detune a whole group to make a layer. So let's turn this up. This is like the style of it, and you can tell him to focus in a certain frequency. Let me just make it more detune. Is it running? There it is. And And you see what was our amazing sound. Oh my god, we love this sound so much. It just grows a lot just by adding the second layer. Which is not a great sound, I have to be honest with you. I just wanted a sound that is a bit simple. Well, let's stay there. Let's not complicate our lives. So, okay, that was option number 1. Case study microshifter, case study little alter boy. Nothing special there, nothing out of the blue. I'm sure you have used this kind of technique before. Now, notice something. Whenever we're talking about layering, what we're talking as well is like we were writing music, and this is what I don't want you to do. Like, Spalina, sorry that I cannot see you from here, but I'm just kind of like a bit sitting down for a moment. What I don't want you to do is like to, what I want to motivate you with this set of lectures is like once you've found this amazing sound, that again, you cannot stop there. That's not where it stops. It's like, it's great sound. I don't have to do anything else. Like, you have to start layering it. And so let's say that we're going to layer this with other synths right now. Just, I'm going to load the synth layer, or not even another synth. It can be another patch inside the same synth. So I'm going to load a second bass. Okay, I'm going to use this just for now. And now, if we apply, I also want to use this opportunity, obviously, to discuss some of the things we have learned about synth and to talk with you with like kind of to meditate, to brainstorm as I progress, you know, in my head. I hear this sound and I want to change something about it. And I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm just figuring this out. 1 second. Chorus 5, if I want a little bit depth. Let me see what's up in here. So I'm looking, you see, amplitude envelope, harmonic envelope. What I'm looking for right now is the cutoff frequency. So this is a vibrato. This is a harmonic envelope offset, amplitude overhead, repeat arpeggio, rate. If you see something like the voice chorus, this guy has a chorus, by the way. And in these alternative cases, I forgot to add something here, which is chorus. Case study, chorus. So we will touch it in a bit. If you see something like it's gonna be, it should be on the filter section, partial select, polyphonic mode, portamento. I don't see anything here of the sort. I'm sure there is. Just like we're not seeing it right now. Transpose tuning, waveform. No, this is the vibrato. This is the stereo. This is the envelope. It can be in the FM fine tune, like this. There seems to be a bit of a different synth. Wait. Oh, nice, nice. Nah, partial settings. Ah, you mean here? And it can also be down here. You see, that up here in the preferences. No, I think that this guy. Let me see. Yeah, it's just like they are. It was not in the functionality of the sync layer, and they added here this brightness. That's what I was looking for. And what's up here? Yeah, just like what I was doing, the history. And then there's movement. Nice. Okay, whatever. I was just layering this. And what I wanted to say, what I really wanted to say is that all of the things that we are discussing right now are inviting you to do this. Once you have a group that you already layered, like this was my layer 1, let's go to layer 3 of this. Sometimes a thing can have 8 layers. It doesn't matter. Like, let's load another synth here. And let's load Arturia. Let's load the CS80. Like, I love this guy so much. And I don't know where am I loading it. In a new track. Okay. So now that I have the edit, let me load a bass here. Okay, so I have I'm obviously being rough here because I don't want to waste all the day trying to choose a layer. Let's say that I love this layering. Oh my God, this is amazing. And just imagine if I would have stopped there, right? Like, that was my original departure point. And then, this is what I want to say, and then you detune this whole group. Like, not only the individual elements, like, but everything that we're going to discuss now, it kind of applies to the group or to a detune layer. Like, I mean, basically it applies to both. Just think about that. You can just do it to one layer, or copy the same thing and detune it, or you can grab the whole thing and detune it, you know. And then you get some movement from it. Okay, we have spent kind of like 30 minutes talking about number one, and it's really obvious. So number two, add a high heat layer. So this is really obvious thing. Like, I mean, one of the things you can do is to, let's say I'm gonna get rid of this and stay kind of like gonna change a bit because I don't like my sound. I want to see if I can get to a better place. So I'm gonna load the the Juno 6, like the one that we have here. Like, just let me start with the Juno 6. And let's work it out a little bit. So I want this to be a bass sound, and I want also to use these lectures to discuss synthesis together, so more in a practical way and not explaining what we're doing, so go straight into it. So this is a high pass filter, right? Like, if I move this, it's a high pass filter, and I have the resonance. The low. This is a low pass, and this is gonna be the resonance. So I'm gonna just do this, and I want this guy. Nice. It's turning out to be really cool. Let's swap this to a negative filter. Sorry, I blew up my sound here. There you go. Move the frequency a bit. So I have that first layer. Let's create a second one. So I'm gonna do it a bit closer to how I usually do layering, which would be I go to a different synth whatsoever completely. And so let me load the CMI. I'm in love with the CMI very much, the Fairlight. And so let me just quickly, this synth is really complex and it's really amazing. Great. So now I have a layer, and maybe the second layer becomes more interesting than the first one. I'm gonna turn down almost a gonna load a third layer, and that third layer is going to be, let's say, Prophet 5, and then we duplicate this. Nice. Well, I mean, this thing did what we wanted to do here. We are working on a bass, but it loaded for me. I mean, it ended up being my high registry layer. He is suggesting us to do this a little bit more like when you're in a chord situation, which would be more like, imagine that we're in a chord situation up here with these guys. And so I'm gonna suspend our bass exploration for a moment, and I go back here, and I'm gonna load again that Synclaver preset, basic preset that it was so wonderful that we switch off initially. And I'm going to duplicate that. And what he is suggesting us to do is like layer 2 is going to be only high notes. So we're going to do this. 0, right? And we're going to leave only the high notes. Let me just undo this, and let me just do this, up. And for now, I mean, of course, you can fine-tune this to your liking, maybe only the top high notes alone. And so now we're going to have a second layer to this, which is gonna be, let me load here, like, this is the OPXA. Wait, which one is this one? Never used it before. Great. It's the Overheim, I think. Like, I changed it. I accidentally changed it, and I didn't want this to be like that, so I'm gonna reverse what I had here and drop the OPXA down here. So, and then let's move this even one octave higher. So let's just grab this, and I'm assuming, thanks to your Ableton lessons to me today, if I do shift up, right? It was shift up. I changed octaves once, up. So I create a layer which is focused only on the high registry. Nothing fancy, nothing mysterious there. When you're dealing with chords, adding a layer that plays a single note from that chord can accentuate something. So we can just even simplify it more for it to hit one single note and never to hit like a chordness of it. So I guess that we can just get rid. Let's focus on the highest two notes. So I guess that we can also do this in here, like, and then switch this off, right? And we're in a situation which is something kind of like this. And now we have another layer. I think that he needs more. He's glitching because he needs more buffer. Yeah. So let's just push it all the way to 512. Close. And of course, I can grab this second layer and load a Valhalla reverb to it. And great. I mean, I know that it's kind of obvious, but why not thinking about it and discussing it? Pick the most important notes from the chord progression and find a unique lead synth. Also, I mean, it's recommending us to work on the same kind of envelope settings as the main layer. So, I mean, in the terms of like attack, decay, sustain, release, just like don't make it so shocking. Sure, sure, of course. So like that, for example. Is that better? Great, great. Thank you. Thank you for feedback. So, okay, and then there is another option which is like the same thing, but just add a bass layer to it. So we would end up in a situation. Let me just undo until here. Wait, this is the moment. Wow, it undo so much that it quit. No, it undo like, it was like, you want to undo like when you close the program. Like to even when it was before it was opened. I see. Thanks. And now we will suffer a little bit, I guess, because it's not gonna open fast. Would you like to record your work? Let's see. Let's see if you can do it. There is one of the options of the list that is so great. I really want to try it. I cannot wait till we get there. Открыть снова, да, надеюсь, да. No. Now, yeah. I hope, yeah, no. I hope in vain. Okay, is it working? Not yet. Wow, wow, wow. Meanwhile, I want to download something here. This is some master from this client that you know a little bit, like we are already in the master, so master moment. Yeah, and this is my son dancing to the masters in the car. Yeah, I just wanted to hear it when the lecture finished, so I'm gonna leave them downloading while we're waiting here. And I guess we can all of us enjoy
Папа на свой кусочек еда.
Кушай.
He found it on the floor, by the way. That was a funny part of that moment, but so Ableton working? Yes, it is. So it's like reclama from our lectures. It's like watching videos of my kids. Great. Okay, so let's go back here and make a low bass layer. So I'm gonna select all of these and switch it on again, and then grab the lower layers and switch it off and go like up and see what we get now. Like the point, you know, one of the things I learned in this experience of the thing of the whole film was so meaningful, because what happened to me as a person, think about it like not me as your teacher or your program leader, or just like imagine a guy, which is me, and that guy spent 2 years giving lectures, and in those 2 years I wrote 0 music. And then I wrote, like, it was like, you want to write music? Okay, just write some music. And I think I learned so much, so many things. I don't even know how to synthesize this to you. But I think that one of the things I learned is that when you try to get a lot by doing a lot, you will create kasha. Let me repeat what I mean. Like, you want to create a big emotion, and you add and add and add more ideas and more ideas. It's way better when you have one idea. Like, I'm talking about one melodic line or one harmonic line. When you start adding like many harmonic and melodic movement, like around things, people's attention go away. And sometimes all you need is just one good idea and layering it. That's different than trying to create 10,000 ideas. Like, you see what I mean? I hope that you understand what I mean. Because you could see what I'm doing there. It's like, no, come on, but wait a second. What you're doing is kind of writing a bass line for the chords. No. They are playing the same notes. There is the brain of the person who is listening is just like tracking that information. And you obtain this from one chord progression. I think that that's more powerful than trying to write another line. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like, it's going to get you to a more rich result. Like 4 elements at the same time. Like, remember, when I'm talking about elements, I'm not talking about layers. Like, every time you decide, this is going to play D sharp, A sharp, B sharp, idea A. Now, on top of that, I'm going to add something that plays whatever. I'm going to say something that is incoherent in terms of music theory, but whatever. I'm going to play something, I'm going to add another idea that plays C minor, like, I don't know, a C minor chord, and then F sharp minor major, and C sharp, and then I'm going to add another musical. That's not the same as grabbing your movement that you decide, which was C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, and then layering that. Try to always start by doing that. Because look at how much musical information we just achieved. Like, I really kind of like wrote 3x time more music than what I had written for that movie, and it would have saved me more time. And actually, I saw the effects of the results, like how they manipulate emotions better. You can manipulate emotions better when your idea is simpler. And you always hear this thing like, simple is what is the sentence? It's like, there is a sentence. Yeah, huh? Yeah, you hear this a lot, and I was growing up and always, because I love things like the Mars Volta that are very like baroque and full of music. Like, I was always like, no, this is mediocrity, like I'm just being mediocre. And I just tested this against another partner, because I mean, I was writing music. This was like two brains writing music, and The other person was always like, telling me no when I was adding too much ideas. And it's better to layer than to be creating more ideas. So, all right, we have a high lead layer and a bass layer. Nothing fancy there. I'm going to move on a little bit. Obviously, adding another octave, it's a really cool idea. So I had my sync layer. I mean, in this case, we're more in the what's the name? In the world of chords, not in the world of leads, but also in the world of leads or harmonic movements is also interesting. So, well, let's just duplicate this and add another octave up. And obviously, I mean, you can use this to stress some of your storytelling, like this, right? Like. It's so stupid what we just did. It's like the same synth in another octave, and it just plays for a little while, and then it goes away, and you have a great effect. And obviously, that second layer, in every time we are doing this, and in all the cases we're doing this, that second layer can be the same synth, or can be a totally different synth, or can be a totally different patch, obviously. The important thing is that now you treat this as one new sound. So sequence, let's say. Oh, that's a sequence. Sorry, I didn't want it a sequence. We will discuss sequence a little bit later. Like I'm just gonna load here some sequence. So yeah, that's pretty obvious and pretty cool. That was number 4. Add another octave. My dream would be that we make 7 today and then 7 next week, and that's the best way we can go. Okay, now things start getting a little bit more spicy. So that was all pretty obvious, the ones we did so far. The next one is telling us is like add an attack layer, and that's a really cool idea. So you had your synth there, bass synth thing, and then you had an attack layer that is going to accentuate the actual hits. So let's think about it for a second. So I had this same, we can stay in this same world where we are now. And we can go to the sync layer here. And actually, I'm going to try to move in a synth that I can control better, that I feel more comfortable, that I know the functionality of it better. So I'm going to go back to my Arturias and Arturia, and I'm going to load now. Let me see. I'm going to load let me try with the core MMS20, which was some synth, it's a synth that we have here, but it's monophonic though. That's not going to be so useful. Wait. I guess that it has a polyphonic mode, but yeah, I'm going to just stay more in my region of comfort. And yeah, I'm going to use the Prophet because I know how to use it very well. Yeah, I didn't show you this in the when we were discussing the detune layer. This is really cool. They don't let me. He doesn't let me do this. I see. It's only for audio. Arturia started selling this like the segment of the. Oh, it's not letting me. Whatever. Should let me, but. Arturia started. No, sorry. This is another story. I thought it was the chorus. They are selling also the chorus segment of the Juno alone. It's really great. It's like a super cool chorus. I don't remember if we discussed it yet. But anyways, back to where we're talking. We are here, and I loaded up Prophet 5, and so we are thinking. We have a base layer, which is not a bass. I don't mean like bass, but I mean the basic layer, which is a long sustain, really nice patch or something. And let's have a look at here at what it's written. So let's discuss the temporal aspects of sound and how they change over time. So I layer that beats off the initial attack of your sound. So short, stabby sound that can work great, or even sometimes white noise can also do the trick. So you can punch through the mix your layer that you have already there. So he's telling you like, hey, look at this image and look at how the second layer is just attack alone. So let's actually, in this case, let me switch off everything and focus on the second layer here. And so for this, I have my Prophet. And I mean, I obviously need to go to a very low attack. And sorry, very low sustain. Wait. see the envelopes here. This is the. So let me just increase this. Release time. Maybe there is reverb here. Effects. Still longer than what I want. Increase the sustain time. I'm gonna go to a little bit more simpler thing. There is like here a oscillator. Percussive organ. No, well, this is too obvious. No, I don't care so much. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted something like this. Just attack. I mean, basically just attack. And let's layer it. You know what I feel? Something I feel. I mean, obviously this is very extreme right now. It should be a bit. Maybe we can round it up a little bit with a bit of release. A bit more. And let me make the attack a bit slower. A little bit slower. It's too fast. Wow, and what if I make it super fast? I'm just curious. And right now it's just a touch. Let's just make it a bit slower. Something like reduce the amount of modulation to the filter. It was really important part. It's really nice. It's getting really nice. Something cool that you can do with this like attack layer is to add a delay to it. So it would be that something. And you know, I love, I mean, I am very boring with plugins, as you know, and I kind of stay on the same plugins for decades, and because I kind of feel that that's all what I need. But like, I just wanted to say that in the H delay, you can have this delay to be in triplets or in dotted. So, for example, if I have it in triplets, I would get a ta-ta-ta-ta-ta feeling. And I can make it faster, right? To 18. That's what I want. So now I have a really nice second layer there. It was better without the delay. Turn it down. And you know, if I were me, which I am me, so that's what I would do. If I were me, I would pan this guy. Like, I would just grab this second layer. That's a really cool idea to do, by the way. Just grab your second layer and treat it like as an individual element, right? So I would grab this guy, and I just would have like, maybe you can even have it like every hit is in a different speaker. I mean, it's a bit of an overkill, but you could do it like, and then the other one goes there. It just gives you movement. You get the point. Okay, so that's about this idea of, that was number 5, add an attack layer. And the number 6 is add a sustained layer. So it's exactly the opposite idea. So you had that nice little sync layer, and now we want to add something that adds sustain later. Let's kind of change the case. You know, we have a very long synth here. Let's change the sync. Let's use presets here on the sync layer just to get to another sound. So let me just load. Let me switch off the second layer. Wow. I'm gonna move a bit further down, like here. now our second layer is going to be a bit different. In the previous case, we had a second layer that it was just doing attack. Let me just change this to another pad. Now, let me remove this automation I did. Pan. So let's do the exact opposite. So let's do a very slow attack. Let me see. Okay, this is the, I get it. The envelope amount is... Sorry, somebody's calling me, just a second. Hello? Понял. Я сейчас не дома, моя жена дома. Как я могу вам помогать? Да, 269К 0465. Да, спасибо. До свидания. Спасибо. Все. So if anybody gets to find the address of my house, you already can go to YouTube and listen to the code of my door. Just like, that's a bad thing of like, I hate this privacy thing of like teaching online all the time, but that's how it is. Okay, so we're looking for a sustained layer with a slow attack. The envelope amount here is in 0. Let me see. Oscillator 1 is doing all the work. What is oscillator 2 doing? It's not being controlled by the keyboard. Nice. Just trying to control my sound. Okay. No. Well, I'm not gonna suffer so much. Let me see if I can control this one with slower attack. Da. So we have a slow attack, and this is our second layer now. So I have this. That's my second layer. And of course, then I can grab this guy and detune it and do whatever I want, create a second octave, everything I want. Okay, that's really great. So let's see if there is any extra information here that could be useful to us. Something similar with the attack layer, something with a slower attack that grows through the main sound direction, exactly what we did. So that's really cool. And I guess that the last one that we will explore today is a release layer. So it's basically something that happens only when the when the keys are let go, right? So it's very similar to the case where we are. I mean, I guess I kind of have made a release layer while I was making a sustain layer in a way. Like, I guess something that I can do to improve that. You see, like, it just appears when the keys are let go. And obviously, I mean, you delay that second one. We will discuss the crystallizer on its own, because, I mean, it's just such a part of my workflow that I have so many things to talk about it, about the Soundtoys crystallizer. But you add a second layer to it, like... just got so much from nothing. Like, this was our first layer. We will discuss this plugin on its own. Wow, I love this. So, in short, what have we learned today? That if you're going to make a cappuccino, just make a little drawing on the top. Hurrah. No, well, I mean, just wrapping it all up for today, I think I want to emphasize what I said a couple of minutes ago, that I would have suffered a lot less while writing the soundtrack if I would have been more simplistic. And maybe you don't have to do that. Maybe you have to go through this and suffer this, just like all of us did, so you can later go and realize that simplicity is really a better idea than trying to complicate or overcomplicate things. But if you layer stuff, you're gonna get a really cool sounds very fast, and it's better than trying to create a second idea. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it should be your first weapon of choice. So see you next week. This was really quick. Yeah, it just went flying. I just cannot believe this, but it was like that. So thank you, and I'll get you more information about that visit to the museum soon. It would be out when you can. I mean, I will not conflict with any of your lectures, and there will be an extra lectures when these guys are fixed, and we will just meet like at 5 p.m. or something here and just learn how to use them and record that. No, well, of course, we discuss this as well, and this is going to happen, but it's not going to be an extra lecture. It's going to be a lecture in DTH. Thanks. It will be like on a Saturday or something. Yeah, it would be like on a Saturday or something. Yes. Actually, let's start discussing this a little bit, okay? Quickly. Before we go, let's start discussing this sort of, because I already know, I will tell you sort of so you have an idea. So you have an idea when it's going to be. Yeah, let's put it right away. Like, there will be a lecture on DTH on the 27th of May on Saturday. So, I mean, I will send this to the status chat so you can disseminate this information properly. And actually, I think it's going to be like, for now, I'm going to put it like, there is a chance that it would be a 3-hour lecture. It's like a full production moment together, like really creatively doing some stuff. So let me put this. Wait. Babysitter. Year 1 lecture. And I need to take a little bit of Studio B that day too, because I want to show you both studios. And it can happen that week there will not be lecture, like, and we will have a 3-hour lecture on Saturday. Like, they will not have lecture on that Wednesday. I will confirm soon. Maybe yes, maybe not. I don't know yet, but and just in case it happens. So I'm booking both studios because we will see Studio A and Studio B. It would be like an introduction to both studios, and then yeah, we will see it. Cassette, give it to me. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. So today, later, I will have like a time here for 3 hours, and I will check like if anybody has this academic dog with me. I will write you again just in case, so we can close all of this, and just in case. So, yeah, all right. Thank you. I'm gonna run to have lunch. I'm super hungry. So.